Gotta cover your dome, get a PA knit. Them PA boys who you cease play with. Drop it in the cart and at least play 6. You gon' cherish them joints on some keepsake shit. Gotta cover your dome, get a PA knit. All kind of flavors is what we stay with. It complement the shine so that we stay lit. Just what you need to complete great fits. Yeah. When it comes to the hats, Gully got you covered. The knits is the shit, you gon' drop all the others. Word to mother, once you discover the comfort, you gon' be like, yo, my brother. Fuck a beanie, unless it's Seagull, it's a wrap. The mother hats, really a lie, you fitted cap. As a holiday gift, the joy we give is drip with more color than Roy G. Biv. Never basic, even got the patterns. You'll shine like lanterns in the cut like caverns. Whether you're hustling, thugging, or loving simple life, no pilfering, hit Gully, he'll get you right. Gotta cover your dome, get a PA knit. Them PA boys who you cease play with. Drop it in the cart and at least play 6. You gon' cherish them joints on some keepsake shit. Gotta cover your dome, get a PA knit. All kind of flavors is what we stay with. It complement the shine so that we stay lit. Just what you need to complete great fits, yeah.
PA Knit, the most electrifying fashion accessory in the game today. Available online, pa-knit.com. Get your...
You ready, Nick?
Let's get them. Truck drivers, let's go.
Nigga, the hunger to win, the will to survive, the look in my eyes.
Pillmatic 2 in stores, available on all streaming sites. Dribble Podcast, available on all streaming sites. I got media for days. Got my sleeves rolled up. Got 2.coms, got my team with me. We getting busy. Straight up. Yes, yes, yes. Shout out to my engineer, Nick. Man, you've been great. Shout out to everybody who been streaming the album. The album is doing numbers upon numbers upon numbers, man. I come in this shit expecting to win, man. But to see this shit unfold, that's a whole nother story, man. But shout out to all of the playmakers, man. I got a great show for y'all this week. Before I go into my actual topic, I have to touch base on this mental health thing, right? You know, in this world, we have all of these things that we have desires for. You know, a bitch with a big booty, a cute face, nice cars, nice jewelry, designer clothes, closet full of sneakers, all of this material shit, superficial shit. None of this shit that I just mentioned can add up to having a good head on your shoulders. What I mean by that is I'm watching, it's a lot of death going on around me, right? A couple people close to me or, you know, not far removed from my platform have passed away in the last couple of weeks and shit like that. And that made me, you know, I'll just be frank. Whenever somebody dies and shit, especially like around me, I pat myself on the back, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm still in the game and shit. I'm still blessed to be here and shit, you know what I'm saying? Tomorrow is not promised to none of us. And sometimes we take it for granted that we're here Monday to Sunday of every week, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I be seeing people in my real life travels, people my age, right? Some of them younger than me. And everybody ain't doing well, man. Everybody not doing well, man. The mental health shit is very, very real. Like, us who are fortunate enough to have our head together, still know how to tie our own shoes, still know how to wipe our own ass, still know how to provide for ourselves, still know how to think, hold a conversation, and all of that. These are all blessings and shit, man. I'm seeing people crack the fuck up, man. I'm seeing people lose it, man. Like, just crack under the pressure, man. I was pumping my gas the other day and shit, man, and as I pulled up to the gas station, I seen somebody on the side of the gas station. I seen a black person, right? And it's 80 degrees outside, man. This nigga had on a bubble goose and a snapback. That's what made me kind of focus on him. And when I looked closer, I knew him. He actually used to make beats. There's people that was around Gully TV. I've been going on, I'm getting close to 20 years in this shit now, right? There's niggas who rapped in 2005, 2006, 2007, who are dead now. There's niggas that rap back then that have lost their mind between 2006, 2007 to now. There's people who have niggas that used to dance, they don't dance no more. Niggas that used to rap, they don't rap no more. Niggas that used to DJ, they don't DJ no more. They just got sucked up by life. Life just sucked all of the creativity and all the energy out of them. But anyway, I seen this cat who used to make beats, and I'm like, is that? I ain't gonna say his name. I'm like, damn, that is him. What the fuck is this nigga doing on the side of the gas station? This guy that I'm speaking of, I know him to kind of like fuck with cocaine and shit. Like, he like sniff and shit like that. So that's possibly what he was doing on the side of this gas station. But as I'm pumping the gas, I'm kind of like watching him. And he just like walked off like aimlessly, man, into a direction where there was nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to explain the direction that he was walking. He clearly didn't have no destination, man. He was like walking behind buildings and shit, like from the side of a gas station going towards a dumpster. Like, I'm like, damn. And this dude was strong, man. Like, this nigga will rumble you, he punch a nigga in his face and all of that shit. Like, was outspoken and shit like that. He had an older brother that died before him, and some friends who were also on Gully TV passed away. And I'm just looking at him. I'm like, damn, fam. And that goes for females, man. I don't know what it is about when someone going through some mental problems, they start walking a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll see them walking places and shit. Like, even you'll see them walking in far destinations, like far from the neighborhood and shit like that. Like, walking up near shopping districts and shit. Like, just walking aimlessly, like whatever it is about when people flip out and shit. I guess that they start walking and roaming and shit like that. But I'm looking at this shit, man. I'm like, damn, man. Life just, some people just can't take it, man. Like, life just be crushing motherfuckers, man. And I don't know if it comes by way of, you know, genetically or what. You know what I'm saying? I got a homeboy that I was running with. He had just did 30 years and shit. You know what I'm saying? He had a cop killing and shit. And he lived to tell about it. They made him do the whole 30. He had a 15 or 30. They made him do all of it. When he came home, I had did some of that time with him, so I had a relationship with him. When he came home, he didn't identify with nobody. But he recognized me because I was in the penitentiary with him, so I was kind of like a familiar face. I used to go, you know, pick him up and fuck with him because he didn't really have no social circle or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? His family, they didn't understand him. When I mentioned this to him, he was like, man, I don't fuck with them. I don't know them. He had been in jail 30 fucking years and shit. He said, I fuck with you and shit. But, you know, I would go pick him up, take him shopping and shit, take him into social spaces and shit, you know what I mean? Let him see bitches and shit like that. Just try to keep him up, man. But anyway, I still got a life of my own. So I be traveling, I be doing Gully TV, I be on the move and shit. You know, I can't tend to a grown man 24 hours a day. And he's somebody who needed some fucking support, you know what I mean, in some regard. I went to go pick him up the other day, and I pulled up at his apartment where he was staying, and I went to knock on the door, and this older guy who used to be the picture man, he used to take pictures of all the hustlers and shit. He seen me hopping out my car. He like, man, what's up? I'm like, hey, nah, man, going to, you know, holler at my people. He was like, ain't nobody in there? I'm like, for real? And I could tell the way he said it was something bad. He like, yeah, man. He said, he in jail or something, man. Like, he not there and shit. Like, he got arrested. I'm like, what happened? He said the nigga just flipped out and shit, man. You know, the neighbors had to call the police, and when the police came, he got the buck wilding on the police, talking about I'll kill you and all of this type of shit. And that ain't nothing that's going to be taken lightly by the police department, being that he has a prior cop killing on his jacket. But make a long story short, he's confined, and I just been seeing a lot of decay. You know what I mean? I try to combat everything that's going on in my life with fitness. I stay in the gym, man. When it's raining, I'm in the gym. You know what I mean? When it was just Memorial Day, right in the middle of Memorial Day, you know, when people at the barbecues enjoying themselves at amusement parks and shit, I was in the gym. You know what I mean? I make a point of living in opposite of general society. Whatever everybody else is doing, I'm doing the total opposite on purpose. And between that and all of my dealings with Gully TV, my clothing business, all my business endeavors, man, it kind of keeps me in a good space because I'm active all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I mentioned this during Ramadan and shit. I didn't even notice that I was hungry or anything like that because the time was going by so fast because I was constantly engaged in activity and shit like that. And that's what it is with me every day. Like I be engaged in endeavors and activity. I got shit to do. Post office, editing, returning emails, text messaging people, putting plays together. And before I know it, man, it's time to watch the NBA playoffs and shit. That's how my days are unfolding, you know what I mean, lately. Speaking of the playoffs, we're going to talk a little bit of sports right now. I just have to go into the Caitlin Clark thing briefly. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese they have made the WNBA a hot topic, and a lot of more people are watching it. And the veterans, I thought it was just focused on Caitlin Clark, but the veterans seem like all of them might not appreciate all of the attention being put on the rookies. Caitlin Clark, they doubling and tripling her, and she's still doing her thing. I believe she's leading the league in turnovers right now. And she's only won her team, the Indiana Fever. They've only won one game this year. They've been getting bombed, but she's still doing her thing. It seemed like they're going out of their way to lock her up, and they are. You got veterans who might have a motive for doing this. Aja Wilson is somebody who was a two-time MVP. She's scoring like a motherfucker now. She was a two-time MVP, and she didn't even have a signature shoe. But Caitlin Clark came from college and got a signature shoe in the WNBA without even playing a minute. And that kind of highlighted the fact that there was in addition to Caitlin Clark, there was three other WNBA players who had signature shoes, and they were all white. So you had 4 white women with signature basketball shoes, and the two-time MVP didn't have one. Nike ended up giving Aja Wilson her own shoe. Shout out to Nike for making that right. And she seems like she's been going on a scoring tear, man. Like she probably took it personal the way that Nike did her. This past week, Angel Reese was the victim of a flagrant foul. I can't remember the basketball player's name who did it, but Angel took it on the chin. She like, man, you know, I'm a rookie and shit. I don't expect them to just let us come in here and take this shit over with. Angel Reese is a major factor in the WNBA. She's almost averaging a double-double. Her team is doing great. Shout out to the Chicago Sky. I just wanted to brief everyone on what's going on with the WNBA. Make sure you're tuning in and checking everything out. Moving right along, and good luck to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark for the rest of the season. Moving right along, my topic for the day, for those who are fans of Major League Baseball, the Major League Baseball League this week, well, it was actually yesterday, integrated statistics from the Negro League from 1920 to 1948. The statistics from the Negro League from 1920 to 1948 were integrated into Major League Baseball. And with that being said, Josh Gibson is now the Major League Baseball king. That's the topic of this here telecast. For those truck drivers and whoever else who are into sports, I'm here to talk a little bit about Major League Baseball. Before I get started, I want to shout out Josh Gibson, Satchel Paige, Hank Aaron, And of course, Sam the Jet Jethro. I'm actually recording this episode a few blocks away from Sam the Jet Jethro's park. It's right down here on 2nd and Cherry, I believe. Josh Gibson played catcher, and he is now known as the King. He holds the all-time batting average. He holds the he's the record holder for all-time batting average and slugging percentage. The stat change caused Josh to top Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb. Prior to this integration, they were the kings of swing in regards to Major League Baseball. A lot of people don't like that. Of course, it's turned into a racial thing, but you just got to pay homage to the black athlete. That's just what it is. A lot of sports writers they kept it real, and they said that you can't tell the story of baseball in America without include the Negro leagues and shit. That's just something that had to be done to make this, for the story to be able to be told right. You know what I'm saying? Josh Gibson was often referred to as the Black Babe Ruth, and Babe Ruth was often referred to as the White Josh Gibson. Josh Gibson, he passed away from a brain tumor. He was pretty young. He never made it to the major leagues. He had a brain tumor. I believe he passed away when he was 35 years old. He played for the Homestead Grays. I want to briefly read some of his highlights from Wikipedia. Josh Gibson, born December 21st, 1911. He passed away January 20th, 1947, was an American baseball catcher primarily in the Negro leagues. Baseball historians consider Gibson among the best power hitters and catchers in baseball history. In 1972, he became the second Negro League player to be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Some of his career highlights and awards include 12-time All-Star from 1933 to 1936, 1939, 1942, 1944, 1946, two-time Negro World Series champion, 1943 and 1944, three-time National League batting champion, 1936, 37, 39. He was a two-time Triple Crown winner, 1936 and 37. The Major League Baseball records were inducted yesterday, and they highlight Josh Gibson from his years playing for the Homestead Grays from 1930 to 1931, and they moved to the Pittsburgh Crawfords from 1932 into 1936, and he returned to the Grays from 1937 to 1939, and from 1942 to 1946. In 1937, he played for Ciudad Trujillo in the Dominican League, and from 1940 to 1941, he played in the Mexican League. Gibson served as the first manager of the Cangrejo Santurce, one of the most historic franchises of the Puerto Rican Baseball League. Gibson was known as a spectacular hitter who by some accounts hit close to 800 career home runs in the Negro League statistical records. His career home run total was 166, and MajorLeagueBaseball.com recognizes 174 of them. As I said before, he was known as the Black Babe Ruth. In fact, some fans at the time who saw both Ruth and Gibson play called Ruth the White Josh Gibson. Gibson never played in the American League or the National League because of the unwritten gentleman's agreement that prevented non-white players from participating. Gibson stood 6'1" and weighed 210 pounds at the peak of his career. He was the first player since Oscar Charleston to win consecutive batting Triple Crown championships, leading the league in home runs, runs batted in, batting average. No batter has achieved the feat since. On May 28th, that was yesterday, Major League Baseball announced that it had integrated Negro League statistics into its records, giving Gibson the highest single-season Major League batting average at 4.466 and the highest career batting average ever at .372. In early 1943, Gibson fell into a coma and was diagnosed with a brain tumor. After regaining consciousness, He refused the option of surgical removal and lived the next 4 years with reoccurring headaches. In 1944, Gibson was hospitalized in Washington, D.C. at Gallinger Hospital for mental observation. On January 20, 1947, Gibson died of a stroke at 35 years old in Pittsburgh. He was buried at the Allegheny Cemetery in Lawrenceville neighborhood of Pittsburgh, where he lay in an unmarked grave until a small plaque was placed there in 1975. This is something that I wanted to touch on because my platform, of course, is predicated on hip-hop, sports, and fashion. And I grew up, with my father in the house. And these guys that I mentioned, Satchel Paige, someone who ended up playing in the major leagues, Hank Aaron, Sam Jethro, and Josh Gibson, they were like heroes to my father. Before people got off into, before we got, the Magic Johnsons and the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars and Bill Russells, it was these guys. These are the guys that those athletes, Will Chamberlain, those athletes looked up to people like Josh Gibson. And he's somebody who I'm very, very elated that he's being recognized for all of his achievements. I was somebody in the 90s. I used to be rocking a lot of, the Negro League gear that came out. They had the fitted hats and, the jerseys and shit like that. And it's dope that when I turn on my TV, that his face is everywhere and everybody's talking about him. I seen on Instagram one of my IG followers who was an avid baseball fan. He commented that Josh Gibson was only man to ever hit a ball over the left field roof of Yankee Stadium. Real deal power hitter, and that's 6'1", 210 pounds. It's almost like a tailback or, a middle linebacker or some shit. Middle linebacker's probably a little bit bigger, but he's like Bo Jackson size and shit. And Bo Jackson was somebody who was associated with being a power hitter. He had a similar, stature as Josh Gibson. I was looking at him online this morning. He was built. He was built up. And I just want to give him a shout out, being as though I'm recording this episode just an hour and 30 minutes away from Pittsburgh and shit. So, yeah, he's buried in Allegheny Cemetery, and he's now known as the king of Major League Baseball. It is what it is, man. One sport at a time, man. If you get to include everyone, if you add equality to the scenario, you're gonna consistently find a black athlete at the top of the food chain. That's just what it is. We dominate sports, and this platform is predicated on hip-hop, sports, and fashion. That's what I came here for today. I wanted to give y'all a little bit of insight on the great Josh Gibson and his accomplishments. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure that you follow me on all social media platforms. Instagram at IamGullyTV_, Twitter GullyTV1. I'm on Facebook. Again, I created a professional Facebook page last night. Jamil Lindsay, you can follow me there. And of course, check me out on YouTube at The Real Gully TV. Again, The Real Gully TV. Make sure you visit my websites, therealdribble.com and paknit.com. And most importantly, go get Pillmatic. Go get Pillmatic 1. Go get Pillmatic 2. Pillmatic 2, the compilation, the two-sided compilation. You got a side A and a side B, full of nothing but heavyweight lyricists, man. Make sure you go get that, man. Shout out to Smoke Dizza, Mickey Fax, Planet Asia, Knowledge the Pirate, Big Oo, Tom Giss, Ankasa, YNX, Saint Basil from Philly, Roscoe Pico Chain, Shaheem, everybody who contributed to making this shit a classic, and of course P.A. Dre. Nick, that's all I have for now, man. I gotta get on to this gym. Oh, before I forget, y'all sleeping on my interview that I put out, man, with Spig Nice from the Lost Boys. It's the episode before this one on the Dribble Podcast. I shared it on YouTube. You could watch it on YouTube too. The episode before this, Spig Nice from the Lost Boys, is dope. It's the longest podcast episode that I ever dropped. It's an hour and 28 minutes. And it's action-packed, man. He talking about how he met Mr. Cheeks. He's speaking about Bang'em Smurf being a part of the Lost Boys before he went on the G Unit. He speaks about that legendary shootout that happened at that movie theater in Queens. which was allegedly involving E-Money Bags. Spig said that he's not sure that E-Money Bags was the one that was firing shots, but maybe he's just, being decent in that regard. We've had a lot of stories that came online that mentioned E-Money Bags associated with this legendary shootout, but you want to hear this joint, man, and most importantly, you want to hear what Spig Nice had to say about the bank robbery that had led to him being incarcerated for 20 years. He just came home about 6 months ago, and he's been online doing interviews, and I'm glad that I was able to ask him the questions that people did not want to ask. Yes, we want to know what happened in your career that caused you to take it to the level of bank robbery. That ain't no regular crime. It told me a whole lot about him. But if you listen to this interview and you just listen to the way he articulates himself, he trying to say, without saying it, that he lived a certain lifestyle before the Lost Boys, and that Freaky Ta lived a certain lifestyle before the Lost Boys. So make sure y'all go get that. I just did a dope interview yesterday with one of the female MCs from Pillmatic 2. Her name is Rail Rock from Camden, New Jersey. Make sure you go check that out. The Real Gully TV on YouTube. I appreciate you, man. I got to get up out of here, man. I'm going to leave y'all with some dope hip-hop music from the album. And most importantly, man, y'all stay safe. I'm on my way to the gym. Peace. Nick, get these people some hip-hop.
Nigga, the hunger to win, the will to survive. The look in my eyes, saying that the victory's mine. Every L is a lesson to learn. Every triumph is a blessing to earn. Blood, sweat, and the burn. Nigga, the hunger to win, the will to survive. The look in my eyes, saying that the victory's mine. Every L is a lesson to learn. Every triumph is a blessing to earn. Blood, sweat, and the burn. I'm from the Saddam era, never been alarmed ever. Keep it calm, clever nigga, reach and get your arms severed. Taking strong measures, never know how you react until you been in it. Jaded with a chic style, I'm living off experience. Cocaine and chemistry, we living off experiments. Feminine energy got them flipping the pyramids. It's still down the Bronx, snapbacks, Ralph in the pyramids. Big Hawk with the bone crusher, I'm trying to red. The honor rebel, the corner rebel.